How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about an all-new issue number 1 for it looks to be a pretty cool cyber horror comic, and that is W0rldtr33 issue 1, put out by Image Comics and written by James Tynion IV. You guys may know him for Something is Killing the Children. Also did a run on Batman. Now, I always try to look through the indie section. You know, my comic shop has Marvel, DC, and then everything else basically in its third section. And I always try to look through there, especially looking for horror comics, which are making a bit of a resurgence lately. And I saw this one sitting there. I saw Tynion, who in general I like. Sometimes he makes some stuff I'm not the biggest fan of. But I saw Tynion and I saw the interesting cover with that green glowy light, really reminiscent of, like, say, a lot of the Japanese horror back in the day would have the green glowing light in it. And I thought it looked interesting. I picked it up, and quite quickly, just flipping through a few of these pages, you can see it's a very dark, uncensored comic, you know, blood and nudity, and I'm like, you don't really get too many comics swinging for that hard R. A lot of times they'll say, mature, and it'll be just a little bit of blood. And I was like, okay, we actually have a hard R comic here. That's different, and it's a creator that I know has put out some good stuff, and it really did turn out, as I read it, that this is actually a really good book. I mean, we've seen companies try to do tech horror, the whole there's something on the internet making people kill each other, and it usually doesn't pan out great, and that's because it's usually made by studios who don't really get it. But we can see that Tynion definitely did grow up in the age of the uncensored internet, and this is a tale definitely about that, and feels interesting and authentic. There's a strange undernet that people are going to, and it's driving them insane, and it has some sort of strange goal, and its original creator has to go and destroy it. It's that whole, I created this years ago, it's back and running amok, I thought I stopped it, let's get the whole gang back together, and it looks like the older brother of a kid who fell victim to it is going to be sort of the outsider character. Overall, it looks really good. It's enough to follow, but without knowing everything that's going on, and you really do wonder the mystery of what the undernet is and what the W0rldtr33 is, and you really do kinda, you know, want to dig further and figure this out and see how all the characters are gonna play off of each other, you know, what's gonna happen when the guy meets the people that created it, and who is this mysterious woman running around, and yeah, lots of interesting stuff, and I can't wait to see the further issues and how much, you know, comes out of this. You know, I really am curious where this is going. Overall, a really great and solid start. If you guys want to see a little more of this book, a little bit of the story, and a little bit of the art, I'll be avoiding the major spoilers, but if you want to dig in a little deeper, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera and show you guys a little bit more about this release. So without further ado, let's switch over to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle taking a closer look at W0rldtr33 issue 1. Let's bring it close to the camera. We can see that the title is done in this nice old computer font, and that some of the letters are replaced with numbers here. Credit line, again, with the computer theme, and then issue 1. And if we pull out, we can see a woman on a computer in a dimly lit bedroom, lit only by the light of technology, and turns out she's killed someone in the bottom there, but you can just barely see this dead cheerleader and more the hints of her in the room around her, little bloody handprints. And yeah, I did have to censor this. It's very dimly lit. I don't think you can really see much, but YouTube flips out and I always have to play it on the safe side. It's just a post-it note. It's not going to do any damage to the book, and I'll take it off right after. But yeah, that character, there will be a little bit of censorship just because I have to with her. But anyway, the back cover, we get this nice techno thing, and rated M for mature, and this time it actually means it. Cover A, issue 1, $3.99. Fair price, given that this is a good quality book and an issue 1 from a major creator. Yeah, good to see it for only $3.99. And of course, 111. Anyway, crack it open, and we get to see, in old forum style, the credits, words instead of writing, by James Tynion, and art by Fernando Blanco. And then we get this opening sort of just a quote to begin us out here. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live, from Harlan Ellison in the short story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Yeah, classic Harlan Ellison story there. But a good way to begin it, and this is apparently all going to happen next year, which, reading this now in the present, it's like, it's the not too distant future. But I do feel this kind of does date the book, and a few years down the line we'll be like, oh, yeah, that didn't happen. But anyway, after that we do get the woman on the cover who has just killed someone. Again, I can't show you most of it, but I'll show you this little censored screenshot here. She's killed someone and then gets on the computer using the login name Fear, but with a 3 and 4 instead of an EA, and she starts looking at, I think they call it, the Undernet. And someone is doing a stream on the Undernet where they go up to a random house, and they find that the Undernet, when you first see it, has a sort of dizzying effect, and that is represented with these technology lines here. But he's using that dizzying effect because, hey, look at my phone really quick. That's not a super suspicious thing to say. And then when they're dizzy, you can kill them. So he's going around and killing random people, and then he, of course, gets his face in the shot. I do like the detail that you can actually see the GoPro he's using to record all this. And, of course, the woman is watching all happy. But we then cut to our other character, Ellison. Ellison, I think because we had that quote in the beginning, we know where Tynion got that name from. But anyway, he's talking about how he's worried about his brother because his brother was talking about seeing some crazy stuff online, and the girlfriend's like, oh, it's probably not that bad. He says that he saw a murder video online, but of course it was probably fake, because, a lot of that stuff probably is. And they talk about a bunch of old internet stuff and how people would go on boards and leave shocking photos just to kind of mess with people. And yeah, I wasn't too big, like, in that internet scene back in the day, but, like, through my friends and stuff, I do remember lots of stories about it. They briefly reference Goatsy here, and yeah, that was one of them. 2 Girls, 1 Cup was another one, and trying to trick people into looking up, disturbing images. Like, there was a ton of stuff before, like, I have to censor this book on YouTube nowadays, but man, back in the age of the early internet, and there were so many people that were just kids, and they, just stumbling through this stuff completely unsupervised. Yeah, no, it was a time back then. But anyway, the girlfriend decides to look him up on social media, and it turns out he's the kid from before, and he's posted that on his regular socials as well. So that is, of course, quite shocking, and the kid's going to get in big trouble for that. But then we cut to, because it's all over the news now, this guy named Gabriel, and we get a flashback to him saying, it's gone too far, we have to destroy it. And they talk about the Undernet and something called W0rldtr33 in the past, and we see his group of friends there. And then, and I'll leave you off right after this, because again, we're not going to go through the whole book, but we see him contacting one of his old friends, and he's saying, I haven't heard from you in a long, long time. And he's saying, it's out again. We thought we destroyed it back when we were kids, but now we have to kill it for real this time, even though it's more powerful, because technology is more powerful today, and we get to see that, you know, Gabriel has become like a big, super rich tech guy that, you know, incredibly wealthy and stuff. That is kind of the It concept, you know, they have to go back and kill Pennywise, but I thought we did it when we were kids. No, it's still alive. So, you know, it's a proven concept, and it's going to be a little bit different this time. I wonder how much we'll get of the past, because in It, really, the present was just a framing mechanism, but I think this is going to be much more present-heavy than It was, so I am curious how much of the past we'll get, how much of the present, you know, and really just what all this is about. You know, they throw around Undernet and World Tree, but we still, at the end of the first issue, don't know too much about what's going on with either of them. And I am intrigued, you know, a lot of times when you see, especially bigger studios doing it came from the internet type of stories, you know, oh, it's a creepypasta, it's what is it, the Gillymuck? Gee. But yeah, a lot of times when you see big studios doing this, they really don't get it. But here, it's a good creepy concept. It sounds like something that, you know, you might actually hear about. And yeah, no, you can tell that Tynion probably grew up in that age of the gory, uncensored internet, and this is a story that really fits into that. And you can tell from the first few pages, which I couldn't show you much of, that this is going to be a darker, more uncensored story, and I am really curious where it's going. Obviously, more stuff happens in the book past what I showed you, but I don't want to show you everything. I just want to show you a piece, and I don't want to be, a substitute for actually reading the comic. So more does happen, some interesting things that really do hook you in, and I definitely would recommend picking this up. It is a good surprise, and like, I like Tynion, but I'm not the biggest Tynion fanboy, so I try to be pretty objective, and I think this one is one of the best things I've read out of him, so definitely would recommend it. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my number ones playlist, where you can see me talk about more all-new issue number ones, well, new at the time, and you can see me talk about the beginnings of their comic series, some good, some bad. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Number one's playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.